This is Ethan, and I'm here with Dave, and together we are Dave and Ethan's 2,000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 162-inch.
On this episode, we are joined by a very special guest who will help us celebrate one of the most iconic scenes in the film UHF.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2,000-inch Weird Al podcast.
It's a podcast about Weird Al.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2,000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Seriously, the whole podcast is about Weird Al.
Dave and Ethan's 2,000-inch Weird Al podcast.
You don't have to listen, but we're glad you are.
Dave and Ethan's 2,000-inch Weird Al podcast.
In honor of the 162-inch episode, or episode 100U62-inch, and with next month marking the 33rd anniversary of Weird Al's first film, UHF, later this episode, Dave and I will welcome a special guest that was featured in the film UHF.
We are so very excited to talk to him, and I know it might be much to say this, but I think without our guest, the film UHF certainly would not have been the same.
Oh yes, absolutely, Dave. His story is amazing, and we can't wait for you to hear it. But first, we have to catch up on all the Weird Al-related news in What's Happening in Weird Al-Related News!
Well, Weird Al and his band are still out on tour for the unfortunate return of the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity Tour.
And that's not all. A brand new tour date was recently announced. Yes, September 22nd in Santa Rosa, California.
Whoa, hold on a minute. I thought we already knew all the dates for the unfortunate return of the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity Tour. On the last episode, our intern Frank told us that Santa Clarita was the 133rd and final show.
Well, Dave and listening audience, this should come as no surprise to you that our intern Frank is an idiot.
Yeah, apparently, despite being valedictorian of his high school class at the age of 16, graduating college with the highest honors, and going on to earn 2 doctorate degrees, our intern Frank cannot do simple math.
Somewhere along the line, intern Frank miscounted the number of announced tour dates and mistakenly told us the wrong number.
Well, now intern Frank has told us that he's recounted.
I don't trust him, Dave.
Yeah, well, me either. But when Weird Al announced the tour date, he also said, quote, "This is the final one. All dates for the 2022 tour have now officially been announced." End quote.
Well, of course I believe Al, but our intern Frank, he still needs to be punished.
Oh, don't you worry. He will definitely be punished.
Now, this concert will be held at the Luther Burbank Center for the Arts, and tickets are already on sale. So act quick and get those tickets.
Well, that's not all the tour news we have for this episode. Al also tweeted that there are still no dates announced for the first 4 shows that were postponed earlier in the tour. However, they, and I quote, "won't be able to reschedule those dates until after we've completed this current leg of the tour." End quote.
Stay tuned to WeirdAl.com and Weird Al's social media for further updates.
I'm really curious because Al said, quote, "this current leg of the tour," end quote. Now, that could imply that another leg of the tour may happen.
Oh, that would be exciting. I know the rumor mill's been churning for a little bit, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, at any rate, it sounds like we already know the first 4 announced dates for the next leg of the tour, whenever that may be.
And take note, intern Frank, 4 dates. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't screw it up!
Well, Ethan and I recently got back from shows in Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, and Bakersfield, California, and that is not all. We also recorded ridiculously self-indulgent bonus episodes for each and every one of those shows, so you will get to hear all about them.
And special guest Vicky DeVries Rhymes with Cheese joined us for one of the reviews, so you'll want to keep an eye on our Patreon page over at patreon.com/2000inch, as our intern Frank tells us he plans to post them soon.
Well, hopefully he won't screw that one up too.
Well, if you're not caught up on what's been happening with Dave and I on tour, we want to share a few quick highlights, out of context, of course.
Well, we've had our podcast theme song performed by not 1, but 2 Grammy Award winners.
We lost on Jeopardy!
Ethan was accosted by 2 Las Vegas showgirls.
We visited the fountain from the Gump music video.
We went spelunking.
Weird Al shared his thoughts on stage about people yelling El Maestro.
And we've added to our catalog not one, but 2 new theme songs.
And we've seen tons of friends, listeners, and past guests, including Dr. Demento, Jonah Ray, Sam Levine, Scott Aukerman, Eric Appel, Justin Willman. Oh, the list goes on and on.
If you want more context and the whole stories, you'll have to listen to our ridiculously self-indulgent bonus episodes where we review the concerts and we let you know all about the Weird Al related fun that we have out on the road.
And the best way to do that, you gotta be sure to join the coolest group of cool people who ever were cool enough to hear bonus episodes early over at patreon.com/2000inch.
We have now recorded 24 bonus episodes, and the tour is only a little bit over 2 months old at this point.
24 centimeter bonus episodes in 2 months! For the entire Strings Attached tour, we recorded a total of 27 centimeters from the entire tour.
Wow, that is incredible. You know, if we keep up this pace, we will have 72 centimeter bonus episodes by the end of the tour.
Wow, I really hope not, Dave. Our Patreon family can listen up through episode 19 centimeter right now, while our more frugal listeners, you know, the cheapskates, the general public, can hear up through episode 16 centimeter via our free channels.
This episode is brought to you in part by vegan burrito restaurant Burrito in Troy, New York, home of the 2-pound double wrapped in a quesadilla Burrito, and Wizard Burger in Albany, New York. Come on down to Burrito and Burrito your Burrito, or hop on over to Wizard Burger for mouth-watering, loaded, dare I say beefy vegan burgers. From Troy to Albany to Uranus, Burrito and Wizard Burger feed the hungry with out-of-this-world, plant-based, real food, always vegan style. Visit burritosquared.com and wizardburger.com to order ahead.
As we've previously mentioned, Weird Al was announced to be part of the upcoming LEGO Star Wars Summer Vacation Special, streaming on Disney Plus starting August 5th.
A new trailer confirms that Weird Al's appearance will feature the brand new song, Scarif Beach Party.
Now, in Star Wars lore, Scarif is the name of a tropical planet. Well, that sounds like a great place for a beach party to me.
With this awesome confirmation of yet another Weird Al Star Wars song, it's probably a great time to remind you that Weird Al dropped the bombshell on our podcast first that he was working on a musical episode of Star Wars Detours before it was canceled.
This is so exciting. On June 20th, Weird Al shared an incredible video of never-before-seen footage shot during the filming of the Eat It music video on his YouTube and social media platforms.
With the video, he explained, and I quote, "Recently, a friend of mine was digitizing all the original film footage that we shot for the Eat It video, and he came across this coverage take," end quote.
The crack investigative team here at Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast have uncovered that this so-called friend of Weird Al's was none other than our so-called friend, UH Jeff Nucera.
The take that our very own UH Jeff uncovered was completely silent, so he painstakingly matched up the audio, which was no easy feat because Weird Al appears to flub a few lyrics in the take.
UH Jeff, what a guy!
If you have not seen this yet, do yourself a favor and check it out as soon as possible. I mean, after you have 100% caught up on each and every episode and bonus episode of Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Continuing in Daniel Radcliffe's tradition of promoting an unrelated project but getting endlessly asked about being in Weird, the Al Yankovic Story, Evan Rachel Wood appeared on Jimmy Fallon recently and was asked about playing Madonna.
She talked about the role and shared a preview of her Madonna voice, which is perfect. And she said while she doesn't sing in the film, the director regretted that choice after hearing her at the karaoke rap party.
Now, director Eric Appel was quick to clarify on his Instagram story to other cast and crew that may have seen this interview that there was no special karaoke rap party that they weren't invited to. This whole thing was more of a casual outing with a small group that turned into karaoke.
We have some very sad news to share. Film actor Kenwick David Cook, who was Weird Al's stand-in for his film UHF, suddenly passed away at the age of 55.
This news hits us close to home as we have been in communication with Kenwick about being a guest on this podcast.
Our mutual friend who connected us, Dustin Jablonski, said Kenwick had recounted many stories to him from the set of UHF over the course of their friendship.
From all of us here at Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, our deepest sympathy to Kenwick's friends and family and to the cast and crew of UHF. Gill and chill in peace, Kenwick.
In much lighter news, it is now time for what's happening in Grammy Award-winning Jim Kimo West-related news.
This past Monday, June 27th, Grammy Award-winning Jim Kimo West teamed up with Muriel Anderson for a fun Hawaiian music performance on the beach.
The event was filmed for Muriel's YouTube page and is titled Monday Live with Jim Kimo West at the Beach and is also available to watch over at murielanderson.com/now.
And how about what's happening in Ruben Valtierra-related news?
El Maestro himself, a.k.a. the Rubemperor, a.k.a. Ruben Valtierra, has made a major change to the super secret club over on RubenValtierra.com.
Now, originally, the super secret club cost a measly $12 for the full year for non-stop access to behind-the-scenes video, audio, and other content, but he has now decided to make it available for free.
This is an excellent deal, and we have calculated the cost to be a 100% discount. So head on over to RubenValtierra.com to sign up for free.
Now, Dave, you didn't let our intern Frank do the math on that one, right?
Of course not.
Oh, good. Now that we've cleared that up, it's time for What's Happening in Podcast Guest-Related News!
Episode 147-inch guests. The band Nerf Herder have announced their 20th anniversary vinyl release of their first album, American Cheese.
Continuing in the food-colored format, American Cheese is cheese-colored vinyl and comes with exclusive bonus tracks on the digital version of the album, which I believe is included with the vinyl purchase.
You can check that out over at fatrec.com. FATWRECK.com.
And remember when we told you to act quick on those Born Weird 12-inch Bologna-colored vinyls? Well, they're sold out, so hopefully you got your order in.
Episode 103-inch guest Chris Waffle announced that his new album, Rated N for No One, by the Chris Waffle Explosion, was released earlier this month.
Head over to chriswaffle.bandcamp.com for the brand new album and check out the new music videos over on YouTube.
What was first teased on our podcast way back on episode 158-inch, Ninja Sex Party is now going on tour.
Ninja Sex Party Up Close and Personal Tour kicks off in September, and it's fully an acoustic show. And if you remember, they said this tour was inspired by Weird Al's Vanity Tour.
Tickets are available by visiting ninjasexparty.com.
The horror streaming service Shudder has officially acquired rights to the award-winning documentary This Is Gwar and just released a brand new trailer.
The documentary will be available to stream exclusively on Shudder starting July 21st.
Now, as we all learned back on episode 126-inch, when we spoke to director Scott Barber, Al was interviewed and featured in the documentary.
In fact, you can catch a glimpse of Weird Al in the trailer, so be sure to check that out on Shudder's official YouTube channel.
This episode is brought to you in part by Discover Darwin, promoting tourism in Darwin, Minnesota. Not only is historic Darwin, Minnesota beautiful, it's also part of a conspiracy.
Darwin, Minnesota is part of the United States Postal Service's Zone Improvement Plan.
The zip code, as it's more commonly called, for Darwin, Minnesota is 55324.
Now, Ethan and I are hardly conspiracy theorists.
Speak for yourself, Dave!
I am hardly a conspiracy theorist, But there is something very peculiar if you perform simple math on those 5 digits.
Oh, just don't ask our intern Frank to do simple math.
Okay, now Ethan, this will blow your mind. Are you ready?
No. Let me get my foil hat. Okay.
5 times 5 equals 25, right?
Carry the... Yes.
And 4 minus 3 equals 1.
Are you sure? Wait, let me get my calculator. Okay, yep.
Well, 25 times 1 equals 25. And if you add in the remaining digit of 2, that gives you 27.
Ah! The Illuminati are onto us! Run for your lives! Ah!
So visit Darwin, Minnesota during your next conspiracy theory. Discover Darwin more than just a twine ball. And after you visit Darwin, Minnesota, be sure to visit discoverdarwin.biz. You may think that we've spoken to many, if not all of the extras from UHF, but apparently you would be wrong. We are very selective with our guests, but the next one absolutely made the grade.
Dave and I are very excited to welcome to the podcast yet another person who graced the screen of UHF. Please welcome Mike Kelley. How's it going, Mike?
Very good, thank you.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, Mike. So which part of UHF were you in?
Okay. You see that the scene of Spatula City where everybody's running up to the store to try and get their spatulas? That's the scene we were in.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So you are one of the few people who actually have been to Spatula City.
Yes, I literally have.
Wow.
Wow, that's amazing.
Well, we need to hear all about this. So I guess, where does the story start? How did you get cast in UHF?
Well, how I got there, okay, my sister lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the time.
Okay.
And we went to visit my sister, and my brother and his wife went to visit my sister. And we were all there. And Steven says, "Do you want to be an extra in a movie?" That's my nephew. You want to be okay, what the heck? I ain't never done that before. And it ended up in that movie. There's my wife and I and our 6 children, my brother and his wife and their 4 children, and my sister and her husband and their 5 children are all in that scene.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I'm trying to add that up real quick. So that's like 15, that's like 19, 18 people?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we were all in that scene.
Wow.
That's like a huge percentage of the cast that was in that scene. I mean,
Yeah.
wow.
I will say this. It was kind of a long and grueling day.
Yeah?
Because it was hot. It was hot out there in Tulsa in July, of course. Okay.
Right.
And the scene, while it only is about 30 seconds on the screen, took about 8 hours to shoot.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
We ran back and forth across that parking lot. Must have been 100 times.
So are you only in the parking lot? You're not in any of the internal shots?
Yeah. We never got inside the store or anything.
After all that.
After all that, yeah, that was it. We got to go in a parking lot.
Wow.
We did get to meet Weird Al. And
Oh,
that was fun.
that's great.
And we got some lunch, too. We did get some lunch.
Oh, good.
So you got to meet Al, you got some lunch, you got to spend 8 hours running around a hot parking lot. Did they pay you guys?
No. It was
Oh, really?
extras. Strictly extras.
Wow.
But it was fun. It's something that, I'm going to remember the rest of my life.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's a great memory to have,
Of course.
Yeah, so if you watch that movie, like it says, if you go slow-mo in there, I can pick out almost everybody in my family.
Really?
Oh, wow.
So we can see you.
In that picture I sent you, if you look all the way to the right side of the picture, there's one kind of husky boy standing there. That's
Yeah.
my nephew, John.
Okay.
Okay.
So this picture you sent us, I know I've seen it posted before, or maybe in a Midnight Star issue. I've definitely seen this one before. So, I mean, is your entire family in that photo?
Yes.
Wow.
Somewhere in that picture, we're all there.
And so, how did you get a copy of the photo?
They did send that to everybody that was there. Because
Wow.
you had to sign a release and everything to be in the picture,
Right.
and you had to have your address and everything. So all of those people that were in that picture got a copy of that picture.
Wow.
Oh, that's really nice.
How generous. That's so cool.
Yeah, I thought it was. Like I said, it was a really fun time. My kids loved it. They still talk about it.
Yeah. I can
Every once in a
imagine.
while, we pull out the DVD and kind of slow mo through it.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
think so, yeah. And you said you were not living in Tulsa at the time? You were just happened to be visiting?
Yeah, my brother and I still lived in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, wow.
Okay, we were visiting my sister in Tulsa.
So you just picked the right time to come visit her.
We just happened to fall into that. Hadn't planned. It was one of those unplanned great events in life, you know.
And you're talking about it, over 30 years later, we're still, still talking about it. Like, what a great, I'm so glad you guys said yes.
Yeah, well, again, like I says, I mean, it's an experience. I love this. I wish everybody could have experiences like that in their life, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it is awesome.
Now, during the scene where everyone's running into Spatula City, there's a whole bunch of cars parked in the parking lot. Do any of those cars belong to you or any of your family members?
Well, like I says, the one picture, in that picture, you see my brother's van. It was parked up by the building there.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Nice.
yeah. In the photo, your brother's fan.
In the photo, that's my brother's van up in the upper left-hand corner of the picture. That's my brother. The rest of them, they had the cars scattered around in the parking lot, and he actually had to run up through the cars.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun.
Wow. So when was the first time you saw UHF? Did you see it in theaters?
I don't remember if we went to the theater or not. I think we did. I think we did.
Yeah.
like I said, that was 30 years. Now that going to the movie, I don't know.
Not as memorable as being in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that your whole family was there and everything. What was, for you, what is the most memorable part of that whole day? You said you spent 8 hours there. Are there anything that just sticks out in your mind that this is the most memorable part of that experience?
I would say probably the most memorable part of it was just being together with everybody and getting to meet Weird Al.
Right.
I mean, that's an experience in itself.
Sure. And how much time did you have to spend with Weird Al?
Oh, just a couple of minutes. I mean,
Yeah.
it was about it.
Yeah.
So he wasn't there the whole day. He maybe just stopped by at the end.
I don't know if he was there the whole day or not, but what I'm saying is, I mean, me personally talking to him was only a minute or two, you know.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if he was he there all day? My wife doesn't remember it.
No.
I tried to get my daughter Jenny, but she's a nurse and she couldn't get off work to come and talk with us.
Oh, we understand.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're so glad we got to talk to you. Now, what kind of direction were they giving you? Was the director giving you during that scene?
And again, I'm working from memory from 30 some years ago. Okay, they had us all lined up on the outer edge of the parking lot. They had the cars scattered around. And they said, everybody run up and be screaming, I need a spatula. I need a spatula. And that's what we did all day long. And they kept shooting it over and over and over until they got exactly what they were looking for. Give me that spatula. Yay!
Did you get a souvenir spatula?
No.
Oh,
Got a picture.
you got a picture. Okay.
Now, anytime that your family uses a spatula, are you immediately thinking of Spatula City?
I do every once in a while. In fact, I just bought one last week.
You did.
Really? Did you buy it at Spatula City?
Do you go to the cashier and say, I was in the Spatula City commercial?
Did we go to the movies to see that, or did we just watch it at home?
I know we have it on tape.
Yeah, we've got it on VHS. I don't know if we went to the movies.
Yeah.
And I do have a VHS player yet, so we can still watch it.
Wonderful.
Very good.
Oh, well, that was on.
Yeah.
Wow.
And,
15 seconds of fame.
yeah.
Yes, that's great. Mike, thank you so much for telling us your story, and what a great experience. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, it was my pleasure. I enjoyed it.
Well, thank you so much, Mike, for sharing that story with us. It's amazing how he got connected to the film UHF.
And a big thank you to our friend Matt Horn for hooking us up with his friend Mike Kelley.
In honor of Mike's appearance in Spatula City, here's our parody of the Spatula City track.
There's just one place to go for all your Weird Al needs. Dave and Ethan's 2,000-inch Weird Al podcast. A giant selection of quality content for every occasion. 2,000 to choose from, covering news, music, and more. And because we only listen to Weird Al, we can record all our episodes factory direct to you. Where do you go when you want to hear Weird Al superfans at a fraction of retail cost? Dave and Ethan's 2,000-inch Weird Al podcast. And this weekend only, take advantage of our special liquidation sale. Subscribe for 9 months. Get the 27th month for just 1 penny. Don't forget, they make great weasel stomping presents. And what better way to say, I love you, Weird Al, than subscribing to our podcast. David Evans' 2,000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Hello, this is MG Kelley, friend of Dave and Ethan's 2,000-inch Weird Al podcast. I like their podcast so much, I recorded this promo.
Dave and Ethan's 2,000-inch Weird Al podcast. We're in the yellow pages under Weird Al.
My, where did you get that lovely podcast?
This whole podcast is about Weird Al, and that's all.
Oh, I could listen to that a million times, Dave.
Oh, me too. I love that parody.
Oh, that's so much fun. So, for anyone who doesn't remember, the voiceover is done by the original voiceover artist, MG Kelley, for our parody. Lisa Popeil joined us. Christian Portwine helped us out with editing. And, of course, the incredible John Bermuda Schwartz was able to provide us with the original background music. So cool.
So cool. Well, it looks like all that spatula energy has given us a spatula call on the 347 Spatula Hotline, the official hotline of Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Oh, I bet it's Jeff finally talking about the Weird Al pinball machine he played. All right, Frank, let's hear it.
Hey, Dave and Ethan, it's Jeff. Just kidding, it's actually TMB John giving you a call with my review of Weird Al's Museum of Natural Hilarity pinball machine, which I went to visit with Anna Canada and my wife Anjali on our way to the Weird Al concert in Los Angeles last Sunday. So we went to Ace Gogi in Van Nuys. First of all, if anyone is interested in Korean barbecue food, this was a great place. They had a all-you-can-eat menu, and we ate as much as we possibly could, and then headed to the back where there was a room of pinball machines. There were a few other music-themed pinball machines. I saw a Led Zeppelin one, I saw one for Rush, but of course the main attraction was Weird Al's pinball machine. Now, let me tell you, this is not an easy pinball machine, and it's very complicated. We were there playing it for about an hour, and we could have gone on for several more hours. When it starts, you're in the lobby of the museum, and you've got a little Yankosaurus in the lobby, and you're trying to hit the pinball into certain places. It's not exactly clear what you're supposed to do, in my opinion, and I got a lot of zeros or minimum scores, let's just say, before finally getting into some song modes. I was able to play some mini games pertaining to Amish Paradise, Mission Statement, I'll Sue Ya, Germs, Word Crimes, and White and Nerdy, and I know there were a lot more. We also kicked the ball around to a few different areas, including a school cafeteria, where my bologna was being served, and also into Harvey's hamster wheel. And one time, the pinball leapt off of the surface and got stuck behind a UHF camera, and we actually had to tilt the machine in order to get the ball to come back into playable mode. I played this game until my wife stopped giving me quarters, and I think the highest score I got was about 750,000 points, whatever that means. Never cracked the 1,000,000 point mark, but that just means there's lots of time to come back and play again. I definitely recommend anybody who's interested in pinball or just pressing a bunch of buttons on the side of a box for a few minutes, stop by, pop in 50 cents, and go for the ride. Weird Al's Museum of Natural Hilarity is the best pinball machine that I've ever played with a Weird Al theme, and I think anyone listening to this podcast would greatly enjoy it.
Ooh, thank you for the review of Weird Al's Museum of Natural Hilarity pinball game, John. It sounds like you had a ton of fun. Your adventure makes me so much more excited to finally play it.
Oh, John, I wish I could have joined you guys. That sounds like it was a total blast, and I cannot wait to completely crush your score of 750,000 points. So if anyone else gets to play Weird Al's Museum of Natural Hilarity, hint, hint, give us a call and let us know your take.
Ooh, how about that? Sounds like we have another call on the 347 Spatula hotline. Cue it up, intern Frank.
Hey, Dave and Ethan, it's Kenneth. I'm here with Scott, Adriana. We're at the Wiltern. You're actually standing to the left of us. And we just had a very bodacious concert.
Oh my God, Dare to Be Stupid and everything.
I'm spent.
It was mind-blowing. My eyeballs are dripping. It was just absolutely incredible. And we're going to be back here tomorrow.
But now we're going to Hollywood to get 24-hour tattoos.
Join us. Thank you.
Wow! Kenneth, Scott, Adriana, thank you so much for calling in while standing right next to Dave and I at the Wiltern Theater.
I'll absolutely join you guys for a 24-hour tattoo, but just one request. Can mine be a 27-hour tattoo?
Well, sounds like we've got yet another Spatula call. All right, Frank, let's hear it.
Hey guys, it's Zach Sherwin. It's Sunday, the day after we all got to see Weird Al at the Wiltern in Los Angeles on the first night of his 2-night engagement here. And I don't know, Ethan, you and I just got off the phone after like an hour of me gushing about all my thoughts and feelings and asking you what you thought about the show. And I just think it's been like maybe 5 or 6 years since I've seen Al live, and I've like crossed some developmental threshold where my appreciation of him and what he's doing and what a living legend he is like deeper than ever. And I just, during the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota, when he started singing that bridge or verse or whatever that's like, what on earth would make a man decide to do that kind of thing? I'm looking at the lyrics on my phone right now. What was he trying to prove? Who was he trying to impress? What was going through his mind? I don't know how much is intentional on Al's part, but I feel like those lyrics are like in conversation with Al's own career, which is in some ways like crafting this gigantic ball of twine. And it's like in some ways so absurd and ridiculous and frivolous and who cares? And it's so silly and outlandish. But at the same time, it is undeniably truly an impressive feat that he managed to build such a gigantic ball of twine, and it's just kind of undeniable. I'm just so glad to be part of the tribe of people who gets how great Weird Al is, and to like be alive at the same time as he is and go to his shows. And I really appreciate the community that you and Dave are building. And yeah, I guess my point is thanks for the ticket.
Wow, thank you for calling in, Zach. I can tell how much you loved and were excited about the show. Thanks for sharing all that with us.
Yes, and for context, I had an extra ticket to the show and I offered it to Zach, so I'm so glad he was able to join us. I just loved his comparison of Al's career to the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota. And yes, we did spend an hour talking about the show on the phone. Zach was like, hey, do you have 5 minutes to talk? And an hour later, we had quite an awesome conversation. So super glad that we were able to share that experience.
So very cool. This is a special hamster alert to the Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast broadcast alert system.
Hi, this is Darth Wilhelm. I'm here today with a very special message. I've spent my entire life breeding hamsters, with the goal one day to provide a Weird Al podcast with zero hamsters. In all my years of trying with my hamster old Bessie, it's just never worked out. So while my dream may never come true, I'm proud to know that Jack Bateman has been able to live my dream of sponsoring hamsters for the absolute greatest and best podcast about Weird Al in the entire world. This is Dirk Wilhelm signing out so I can go for a nice trot on my big wheel.
That is all for this week's special hamster alert via the Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast broadcast alert system.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast is brought to you absolutely free thanks to our incredible sponsors, Burrito, Discover Darwin, Jackson Scoggins, and Jack Bateman.
Our podcast is also supported by everyone in our Patreon family, with special thanks to our amazing close personal friend level Patreon supporters. UH Jeff, Kenneth, Scott, Zeb, Adriana, Allison, Blair, Frank from the Bank, Rim Jams, Jared and Rocky, Javier, Nancy, NES Josh 64, Gus and Alicia, and Jake. And also special thanks to Spencer and everyone else in our pretty stinking majestic Patreon family.
If you enjoy our freaking fantastic, family-friendly, wild and wacky Weird Al podcast, please consider supporting us over at patreon.com/2000inch. There are awesome benefits like getting your name mentioned on the podcast, your own private RSS feed, and access to secret episodes. And now is a great time to join if you haven't already, because you get to be the very first to hear the unfortunate return of the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity Tour concert review bonus episodes.
And do not forget to check out our official merchandise shop over at shop.2000inch.com. The unfortunate return of the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity Tour is underway, so make sure you get your orders in today for all your Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast merchandise, so you can wear it at the concerts and share exactly how you feel about our podcast.
We love hearing from our listeners and other Weird Al fans, so join our Facebook community and post about Weird Al by visiting group.2000inch.com, as well as our brand new Discord for even more riveting Weird Al related discussions. You can find both of them linked on our website. Plus, we also love it when we receive voicemail via our official patent-pending 27-hour-a-day podcast hotline, 347 Spatula. You might even hear your message in a future episode.
For everything about our podcast, including incredible past episodes and guests, be sure to visit WeirdAlPodcast.com or 2000inch.com. And while you are there, make sure you click on ridiculously self-indulgent bonus episodes to follow along with our adventures on tour. And also click on Black and White and Weird All Over bonus episodes for our special book bonus episode series, where author John Bermuda Schwartz walks us through his book page by page and picture by picture.
Keep up on new episodes, podcast news, and events by following at 2000inch on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And a big thank you for subscribing and leaving reviews on your favorite podcast apps. Make sure you're subscribed, because not only does it help the podcast, it's also impossible to hum while you hold your nose. Or is it?
Thank you once again to Mike Kelley and his family for joining us on the podcast. Thank you also to Vicky DeVries, Rhymes with Cheese, Matt Horn, Dustin Jablonski, Zach Sherwin, TMB John Katz, Adriana Yukovich, Scott Sorensen, Kenneth Gwinnett, UH Jeff Nucera, MG Kelly, Lisa Popeil, Christian Portwine, and John Bermuda Schwartz.
And thank you to the Grammy Award-winning Jim Kimo West for our incredible, breathtaking, jaw-dropping podcast theme song. And thank you to Weird Al Yankovic, as this podcast probably would not exist without him. And a big thanks to all of you, our loyal listeners, super subscribers, pretty stinking majestic Patreon supporters and sponsors, and everyone else who makes our podcast possible.
Thank you as always for choosing Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast. And until next time, remember to gill and chill.
Well, Well, now that we've got a little break from touring, Dave, I was thinking back to all the former podcast guests that we've got to say hi to and meet while on the road.
Oh yeah, we previously mentioned Jonah Ray, Sam Levine, Scott Aukerman, and Justin Willman.
Well, and you can't forget the guys in Nerf Herder and everyone in Al's band and touring crew that we've had on, including John Bermuda Schwartz, Jim Kimo West, Ruben Valtierra, J.W. Halford, Marnie Farlow, and even Weird Al himself.
Oh, and don't forget, we also met Dr. Demento.
Oh, wait, that was Dr. Demento?
Yeah, who did you think it was?
I thought it was Michael Jackson.
That was Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 162-inch.
Being an extra in Weird Al's film, that sounds fun.
I need a spatula. I need a spatula.
Oh, they're gonna get me. Oh, good thing I got my tinfoil underpants on. Oh no. Oh, my tinfoil socks and my tinfoil pants. Oh, good thing I got my tinfoil uvula cover.